Hello guys and welcome to another episode of The Letter. Last time we're in the Zachary POV. I decided to make him more open instead of being holding back information, and we had a nice little chat with Isabella about this pretty tragic past. So I think that's good, The the positive benefits of trusting your friends can go a long way, as seen in Higurashi. And we had a nice breakfast, or maybe even brunch with Ashton, my boy. And now, before Ashton and Isabella leaves, Ashton wants to have a private talk. So I thought, when we ended this episode, it was gonna be about Isabella and her problems and stuff, which totally made sense. But also, just before I recorded, or just before I started recording this episode, I'm like, dude, what if it's not even about Isabella? What if it's just about the fact that Zachary said he was going to do his photo shoot at the Ermagerd mansion, and Ashton wants some tech, some info when he goes there. Take some certain pictures and stuff. Just as it's being fairly obviously hinted that Ashton's been investigating them or something. Seems very hostile towards them, or passive aggressive. Yeah, this is the sheet, how it's looking. Hi, Isabel. A lot, actually. Hi, Ashton. Going pretty well. So let's see. Hopefully it's one of those two. If it's neither, then oops. Wrong again. A grin is spat on her face when she leaves and closes the door behind her. For a little while after, we're left alone. Ash goes wholly quiet, listening, waiting for her remaining footsteps in the hall to fade. The earlier amusement is gone from his face, replaced by what I can only describe as trepidation. I know that look all too well. When he's like this, he's expecting shit about to go down at some point soon.
That wasn't very nice, Ash. What was that with Isabella earlier? You're usually subtler with your questions.
They hired you.
Okay, yeah, so it was the point I just thought up, I think.
Hired me who?
Nice.
Don't change the subject yet. What's really going on here?
The Wrights. Luke and Hannah Wright. You said your next gig is with them.
At least, I mean, maybe Luke is doing some shady stuff, but we know Hannah is pretty clean, right? At least from what we saw. I mean, she did kind of do a little illegal stuff by buying the house early, but nothing major.
Is that what this is all about?
Just be careful around them. You have no idea what you're dealing with when it comes to that couple.
Hopefully Luke's not too bad of a person. I kind of like him.
I'd rather you stay as far away from them as possible, but you're already here. Isabella's their real estate agent. Seriously, of all the people in Luxburn.
Okay. I guess I'll just have to take your word for it.
He nods, claps a comforting hand on my back, and turns to leave without another word. He's never been good with us. Okay, that was pretty quick. Thought it might have been more. So it wasn't to get tech. It was just warning him about them. More often he fumbles with what he wants to say, but his actions alone are enough to tell me how grateful he is for the trust. He reaches for the knob as soon as he gets through the door, but doesn't turn it. Instead, he looks back and gestures with his head toward the table. I don't need to follow his line of sight to know what he's going to ask about. He's likely taken notice of it the moment he entered the room.
You back on those? I haven't seen you taking them in a year.
Yeah, I kinda had to. It got worse after the film fest. The dreams, that is. I don't think I'll be doing that again anytime soon.
Heard about that. Don't drop it, though. You don't want Becca scolding you. She actually enjoyed the movie you made, and she's hard to please. Consider that a small victory.
You don't have to tell me. She already did. Rebecca and Bella both gave me an earful after I said the opposite. Promised them
True.
I wouldn't, but you can never tell.
In the cafe. The fake Starbucks.
Hopefully, once I feel better, I'll be able to think about it properly. Speaking of Bella, she didn't open up to me, but maybe with you and Rebecca.
Yeah, I'll try. I can't promise anything, but I'll talk to her.
Rebecca probably has the best chance, you would think. I mean, maybe Ashton, since he's a police officer. Though Isabella's not, like, super trusting, at least talking about serious stuff with Ashton, but he has the tools.
Thanks. That's all I'm asking.
This time when he reaches for the door, he lets it close fully behind him without glancing back. Journal update. Take up peep. Ashton arrived to fetch Isabella hours later, but she didn't want to leave after all the food they prepared. In the end, Ashton acquiesced, whatever, and stayed. The Wrights and Zach's upcoming gig are a few topics touched during the talk over breakfast. Amaya Jaff sweeps into the room as I close the door behind him, slightly disturbing the papers on the nearby fridge. A low note flutters by my feet. The letters on the surface glaring at me with mute intensity. For some reason I thought it was actually going to be Isabella's letter. That would have been spoopy. Ermagerd Mansion, H. Wright, 11 a.m. After Ashton's warning, they all hold a different meaning now. Alright, time for that. Oh. Never mind. Passing right through it. Or was that? Oh god, the humming. Yeah, I guess we didn't need to see it through his POV. It kind of would be weird with the relationship part anyways, since we already boosted it up pretty nicely. Anyways. The next 2 days rush by in a blur. Altogether living a collective mess of work suddenly, piling up and a new unexpected acquaintances or friends. It depends on how you look at it really. Either way, I'm stuck developing these photos at 3 in the morning to reach a deadline set by an overeater art director. Don't get me wrong, Julius is good, has a vision, and knows what he wants, but damn, he can be too enthusiastic sometimes.
Doesn't matter when you couldn't sleep anyway.
There's nothing new in it, of course. After years of working as a freelance photographer, it's simply something I've grown used to. Oh, he's trying to develop the photo with Kyoko creeping behind Hana in that one pic, maybe. I remember that scene. Get to know people, build a client base, do good work, and cash in some late hours if need be. Rinse and repeat. It certainly takes a while to get some footing on the field, but it's the kind of thing that pays off in the long run as long as you keep at it. Given enough time, you might end up with big names on your client list. Names like the Wrights in particular. I never did pay much attention to them, but it's virtually impossible not to hear about them when a new local news channel or paper has something to say on their name. A party here, an acquisition there. Sometimes it's a new business ventures, other times it's everyday gossip. That typically follows popular people like them. Not in a million years did I ever imagine I would end up working for such a high profile couple. And between that and the fuss that comes with, it leaves me no time to ponder over whatever happened to Isabella or why Ash is so adamant we keep away from the pair.
They do seem like the good folk, though, despite the whole fame thing.
Here there is a rumor running around years ago about him being involved in some business scandal. But just like every gossip blown out of proportion by the media, nothing came of it, and eventually it simply died down. Much is definitely left to be said for the husband, but I doubt a woman like Miss Wright would pick him if he doesn't have any good points at all. Miss Wright, Hana herself though. They split? She ain't particularly bad the way the press makes her out to be. Yeah, she's a pretty nice person. The tabloids had it all wrong, that's for sure. See, that's the story change, because we didn't constantly harass Zach. For someone born with a silver spoon in her mouth, well, she ain't exactly what I was expecting. Among other things, the newfound friendship is what I least expected from her. But here we are. Although with a life as public as the Wrights, no wonder it's the woman who often gets the crappy end of the stick. I can't help but feel sorry for her. She is a real nice person when given the chance. Heck, she might have even ended up friends with Rebecca and Isabella too, if they weren't living worlds apart. Probably. The beep quickly pulls me back before my thoughts travel any further. In one practice motion, I carefully place the wet print I'm holding on the drying rack, and amble over my mateship darkroom to get the last photo from the water bath. I'm tensed. Inside the converted room closet, the film processor lets another soft clap before going on its standby mode. At its mouth, a lone photograph sits on the tray, barely visible, with a lack of light. It's the last one tonight for the set Miss Wright requested. I don't usually make this a habit, giving away stuff that is. It's bad for business no matter how well-intentioned or generous you are. This exception, however, she did treat me well and was pleasant companion all throughout the shoot. Dude, look at me. I'm just a friendly guy. I think we made like all friendly choices besides the one bid screw up with Marianne, which kind of evened out for whatever reason. Maybe we did something nice. But that was brutal. The Rebecca stuff, it's just bound to happen when you try to ship two characters. But yeah, there's some Luke stuff we messed up, but it's kind of hard to read the situation with Luke, to be honest. She did treat me well and was a pleasant companion all throughout the shoot. Even if she didn't ask, I would have probably given her a few prints just for the hell of it. Miss Wright ain't such a bad subject matter to begin with. Maybe it's just me, but for someone who has everything at the palm of her hand, all the money in the world, a loving husband, in a way, and a plenty big mansion to call home, she is lonely. She doesn't appear like it. She just doesn't appear like it. It shows in the tone of her voice, how she moves, and most certainly in her smiles. Always hidden behind the glamour for the world to never see. Sometimes people like her, small things like these help. A little reminder that the world can be kind to. Water drips from the paper as I blindly pick it up and gently lay it on another tray holding a decent amount of photo flow. A few seconds into the solution, it is all it needs before it's ready for drying. No good rushing this last one, even if my body's already screaming for some decent snooze. My hands fumble. Excuse me. Sorry. Quick water sip. My hand fumbles for the light switch, moving toward it with familiarity, while I fish for a squeegee among the mess of tools on a drawer with the other. Dude, I need a position. I'm just scared for quick time events. No, auto. Oh, I thought I clicked auto. The bulb flickers twice before its glow settles, and I cast a soft light in the tiny space. When I glance down, squeegee in hand, ready to finish the process, I finally call it a night. Oh god, don't show it. Oh. Her head is done. So Kyoko's not in the picture, but that's fucking creepy in its own right. Blurred and distorted, beyond recognition rather. The area completely smudged over, leaving no trace of the same sweet smile the good woman carried in all the previous prints.
Damn, that was too careless.
Jesus, so cursed. I don't know. Imagine if you're a photographer and that happens. I guess you would just automatically assume it's a glitch or whatever, but still, real cursed. A common mistake to make, of course, if one is negligent. Do you say that word? Negligent? Enough to pick a newly processed photo in the dark, like I did apparently. It has happened before, loads of times actually. but I still can't help but feel a small pain of frustration over one mistake a newbie would likely make. With a sigh, I reach up for the switch again, intending to develop a new one from scratch.
It could pass off for one of those supernatural pictures they show on TV, though.
Nice. A memory clicks, one cursory thought in the sea of many, and a short yet distinct second from the day before. A glimpse is all I got, but it's enough to burn the image in my mind. There was a shadow. I don't know if I'd call it a shadow, it's pretty vivid. Oh god, it's showing it. No! Stop! A woman. In her 20s or early 30s maybe? But with how far her flesh has become, it's not possible to tell at first glance. God, that is so scary. The skin itself had already taken a sickly pale color, rotten in most parts, blood dripping from every open gash and liaison on her body. Bony hands grip Mrs. Wright's neck like a noose, staining the skin underneath with a vibrant shade of scarlet. Nothing but malice fills the gleam in her eyes.
Zachary?
Not for me, but for Miss Wright.
Zach, is something the matter?
You're cursed, honey.
Oh no, there's nothing wrong. I just remembered something that's all. Let's get back to the pictures. Can you move a bit more to the left, yeah?
Yeah, there's something behind you. God, that was pretty good. That sent shivers right up my spine. Some of Hana's shots from the photo shoot the day before came out distorted after Zachary developed them. He would have almost dismissed it as human error if he hadn't remembered a chilling memory from yesterday's shoot. The memory alone is enough to make me retch. I brushed it off then. A trick of the eye, I told myself, or a product of the heat. The weather has been unexpectedly warm recently, so it shouldn't be too surprising for such things to happen. And, while blaming this on the usual fatigue and overworked brain, the weather or an amateur error on my part is far more convenient. It makes a whole lot of sense that what the small voice inside my head whispers. The same tiny voice that only makes itself known when something's afoul. The same one that lent a curious ear to Isabella's worries about the mansion. And with each second I spend staring at this photograph, the murmurs in my head only grow louder against my ears. Someone has to know. Show it to Hana. I feel like we should show it to Ash, but I feel like Ash is just trying to brush it off. Oh, this is a tough one. I think Hana might take it more seriously, but I don't know. I think it's more... I don't know. This is hard. This is really hard. I feel like Hana would believe it, but like... Ashton, though. Ah... Ashton, don't be an ass. Ash will give me flack for this. He will. I don't know. That was a hard choice. I hope Hana doesn't die because we don't warn her, even though like she almost died. I don't know. Fuck. I can already hear what he's going to say about the moment I bring it up. Hell, before he even sees anything, I'll wager. The guy is a skeptic through and through. It'll take more than my time for him to even consider this. But we have Isabella's too, you know? Sort of piling up. But when you've been there, seen something enough to raise the hairs at the back of your neck, and leave you wanting to flee or hide, what he thinks is the least of my concerns. I am no hero. That's a title best reserved for someone else. Still, if this will help him change his mind, it's worth a try. Yeah, sure. Isabella's gone and done the same thing, didn't she? Outside, the sun has yet to rise. I've still got a few hours before dawn. Good enough time to mull over how I'll go about this with him. Plenty of space to check if I'll get the same result if I redo the process again. The film processor hums back to life at my touch. The light switch gives a soft click, and darkness embraces the small closet again.
Somehow those urban legends don't sound so silly now.
Don't make. I feel like the picture might become even spookier. We not. Oh nope. You good. Hell yeah. Sometimes I wish Ash would make himself easier to find. 24 messages, 13 phone calls, and one visit to his flat later. I still have no idea which rotten Luxembourg he went off to hide under again. This guy has his own place, but refuses to stay in it. Has his own phone, but doesn't answer any of the calls or give any indication he's gotten in my messages. Most of the time, he'll just show up at my front door. Sometimes in the middle of the night, complaining how uncomfortable it is to sleep at the back of his Shirley, his car. As if the old couch in my flat is any better. Nothing new from him though, but a bit frustrating really. There's a police precinct, of course. Then again, he's not there most of the time either. And if that's also true for today, he's likely out on another stakeout. There's nothing much for me to do but wait if that's the case.
Let's just hope I'm lucky enough today.
While Luxembourg is a relatively peaceful city boasting a low crime rate, its precinct stays abuzz with activity. As soon as I open the glass front doors, murmurs coming from the people waiting in the lobby welcome me. Officers can occasionally be seen shuffling in and out of the rooms, greeting civilians with a casual smile and a polite nod. Some though look a little worse for wear, like their receptionist, who looked at me with much disdain the moment I arrived. Thankfully, I won't have to deal with him today. Before I can even step in, Ashton's voice, though low, comes from the hallway adjacent to the lobby.
Not even for just 1 minute?
No. The case was dismissed, remember?
You were the one handling that case.
Drama.
If you want access to those records, you've got to ask Chief. I was taken off it before shit went to hell. Why do you even bother? Even Professor Clark seems to have given up on that.
My boy Clerk.
Well, never mind, you won't understand.
Right. I know you owe Professor Clark a lot, but the right guy isn't just someone you mess with. They've got the money. Who knows what else gets swept under the rug with them involved.
That takes a special kind of ignorant not to know.
And a smart person to know which boundaries he can't cross. You're a bright guy, you'll figure it out. In any case, I've got to get going. Another missing person case on my hand. Benjamin on the front desk looks like he's about to maul someone after the 4th one yesterday.
Aw, poor him. It's unfortunate for him that people go missing.
Murders, people missing, what a time to be alive.
I'm joking.
Man, I miss the old Luxburn.
You and me both. I'll see ya. Gonna go grab some lunch.
He notices me first as soon as he enters the lobby and pauses. Confusion briefly crosses his face until I fish out the phone from my pocket and wave it up. Frowning, he pulls his own mobile out, wordlessly fiddling it with a few seconds before sighing heavily. There ain't any annoyance in him when he glances up though, only mild exasperation and what might be a hint of amusement.
Stop taking pointers from Isabella. This is gonna get old soon.
Come on, bro, trust, believe in the friends. It's my plan, power of friendship to beat Kyoko.
At least use your phone properly.
It's an alarm clock, a good note-taking device, a halfway decent camera, and maybe a music player too. If I'm being nice.
Actually true, except I don't use an alarm clock, but everything else pretty spot on for me. I usually just not answer my phone either.
What else do I need it for?
I don't know, keeping in contact maybe?
When he merely shrugs, I know I've struck a chord. He's far from holding a piece of technology in contempt, of course. Ash has always been nothing but practical from the start, and technology is useful. Only when he gets too focused on one thing like the case he's handling, he tends to forget there are other things around him. A little reminder and a nudge in the right direction can get him a long way.
I've got an email on that social media site the girls roped us into joining.
Facebook?
That doesn't make any sense. Also, you've got an account before any of us had one.
For policing purposes? Anyway, why are you here? I thought you have something scheduled today. Or was that yesterday?
That was yesterday.
You know what it was. You were kind of mad about
I
it.
want you to see.
He stops me with a tap on the shoulder, walks past me straight to the door, and gestures with his head towards the very irked receptionist when I raise an eyebrow in question.
Over lunch. I haven't eaten anything since last night, and Benjamin there doesn't really like loiterers around here.
Wordlessly, I follow after him, but not after sending the poor guy behind the table an apologetic smile. Starbutts, or Cesar Butts. As expected, he takes a seat in the farthest corner of the cafe, a good way from the window, but easily allows a view of who comes and goes. Secluded enough not to be disturbed by the lunch hour rush or be overheard by a curious bystander. If I didn't know this is lunch he invited me to, I would automatically assume I got dragged into another stakeout. Look at that freaking picture of the bunny rabbit, dude. That looks kind of crisp for some reason. At least to me. Or is that like a rat or something? After years of knowing him, though, this has simply become one of the many habits I've gotten used to. Food arrives minutes later. Food check. What we got? A slice of their vegetarian quiche for me. Meanwhile, vegetarian, not vegan. Ashton has opted for a cup of coffee, plus a gracious serving of something. Okay, first of all, base coffee with Ashton. Dude, that's a big tip to the coffee maker. That's cute. Also, from what I understand, quiche, not quiche. Isn't that like... I've had it before in daycare. They used to serve that a lot, surprisingly. It's like a pastry with... I've never had it in a pie, but mine was like a small pastry with egg and ham in it. So I was gonna be like vegan quiche, because, you know, vegans can't... Can vegetarians eat eggs? I'm actually not sure. I don't know. But I know vegans for sure can't eat eggs, so like what the heck would a vegan quiche be? Well, vegetarians made sense, I guess. If they can eat eggs, just no ham. There's something else in it. But yeah, they were pretty good. I literally haven't had them in like... No, that's not true. I probably had them a couple years ago. When you buy those like a box of like frozen mini treats that are like mixed, like some spinach pastries, some quiche pastries. I think I had it before. It's alright. It's not my favorite, but it's pretty good. Then we have whatever this thing is.
You having cake for lunch?
That's a cake. It looks nice, I guess. I don't know. He shrugs, then proceeds to dig in without even a hint of remorse. Frankly, it's like seeing a child get his Christmas present early.
Don't tell Becca. I'll get an earful. It's just for today.
You should listen to her, though. The kind of work you do, you'll need to eat something other than sweets.
True.
I don't want to see you drop dead in front of my apartment again.
I told you, just this once. Have you been hanging out with Becca lately? You're beginning to sound like her.
Just for some recipes. But she has the right to worry, you know? It's like she's taking care of two kids. One bitches on sweets, while the other on cup noodles. At least Bella knows how to cook.
Hey, I can at least boil something. Wait, that's easy, right? I mean, you just put water in and...
Yes.
No, don't even think about it. You destroyed your own kitchen once by sticking a pressure cooker on it. I think my sister is a whole lot better than you. And this is coming from someone who has no other choice but to eat her cooking for some time.
To be fair, he generally appears offended at the last remark. Hate will be a too strong of a word to describe how Sis and him usually interact whenever they're in the same room. Oh. So whatever appropriate word it is, I can say with most certainty that the feeling is mutual for both. Ash thinks she needs too much, while Sis thinks he's a troublemaker I should stay away from. They're both technically right on their assessments.
How's your sister, by the way? Still bullying white guys?
What? What should I say? She's married to one now, or you're the one who started it? I don't even know. This one probably gives Ashton points. Those are kind of funny.
You do know she's married to one now.
Yep, plus boost that Ashton bar. We're friendly.
I hope she doesn't end up poisoning him with her cooking.
Pot calling the kettle black?
She can't be better than me.
I hate that phrase. Not calling the kettle black. I understand it, but I've seen it so much recently, and it just doesn't roll off the tongue well, dude. Get some new phrases. That's all I'm saying.
Actually, she is now. They're planning to start a restaurant sometime in the future.
I was bedridden for days after eating some of the stuff she whipped up. And now you're letting her cook for other people?
Don't exaggerate. It was just for one day, and you're the one who refused to leave your apartment. You should come by, though. Sis gave birth a few days ago. Girl.
Wow.
I've only seen the pictures, but I might visit sometime after everything's settled down. Too many backlogs to go through for now.
No way in hell. She'll just find something to criticize again. Last time, it was Shirley.
Never criticize the ride. He makes a show of how being utterly mortified. Though I'm quite sure he doesn't mean any of that. He might not say it straight out, but I'm pretty sure he's enjoying the small visits whenever he can. Something about it reminds him of his own family. Sort of like making up for the one he never got back after his parents separated. Divorce gained. Rise up, Ashton. Thanks for joining the club. The sad club. So our spot that one topic. One thing he never ever brings up in any conversation. If he can help it, and I've never seen the need to be nosy. There's some wound that you're just not meant to open. And for the both of us, that sentiment goes the same way.
As if you ain't already on a shit list. You're just afraid of her.
In your dreams.
Shit list.
But I'll think about it. Can't just drop this thing at the moment.
His change in tone is subtle, but his aggravation over the matter hangs completely palpable in the air.
Still no closer?
The opposite, actually. There's been some slip-ups here and there. Careless mistakes, and let's just say I'm waiting for him to make another one.
He's hunting my boy Luke. Don't be too mean, he's trying to become a good father, maybe.
What about you? How are things on your end?
All piled up on top of the other. But I can manage. Still recovering from the expenses for the movie, so the surge in new projects helps. Well, there's this one thing.
Let's go. And we got multiple pits. The expression on his face grows more puzzled with each photo I spread on the table. There's about 8 of them, all of it reprints of the same thing. Miss Wright's distorted head on the photos. He takes a minute to go through each, eyeing the prints warily. The furrow on his brow doesn't ease even as he gathers all of it into the one pile and sets them in one neat stack in front of me with a heavy sigh.
Hannah Wright?
Yeah. How did you...
What do you mean? He literally warned you of the couples at. Obviously he would know what she looks like.
The locket. She never takes it off.
I mean, I guess the face, sure, but like... I don't know, she looks pretty distinct. You know what I mean?
Evan's family heirloom.
I won't even think about asking why or how he knows that. If he's investigating them, he'll likely already have dug up every unimaginable dirt on them, including the family history.
Are you done with your work with them?
Yesterday, yeah. It's just a small feature for a magazine. Interviews, photos, standard stuff, nothing big. But see, here's the thing. I don't know how else to put this out there without sounding crazy, but there really is something odd with that place. Remember the letter?
He drains in a breath, reaching up his nose and pinches it. Like the action alone will help grant him all the patience in the world to continue this conversation. Dude, that's so sassy. I love that. I'm just picturing that in my head.
Please tell me this isn't about that again.
No, Ash, you've got to listen this time.
I am listening, and I can't believe that just came out of your mouth. These are some blurred out photos, and that letter is just a stupid prank. I expected this from Isabella, not you.
Trust friends, please.
You're the cinematographer here. I don't see any need to get worked up over this.
I could have saved Hana, but I'm trusting you.
I know what you mean, but would you hear me out first?
Ash leans back on his seat and doesn't say anything further. He gestures for me to continue with a wave of his hand, impatience clearly on his face. Any other person telling him this and he'll walk out without batting an eye. I suppose the only reason he's giving me the benefit of the doubt is because we know each other.
Ash, I don't easily buy into these things as much as you do. Yesterday, though, behind Hana.
He blinks at that, his eyebrows lifting momentarily before settling into a deep frown.
Hana? Since when were you on a first-name basis with the right missus?
Why does that even matter?
I thought you said this was just a gig.
It's just her name, bro. His voice is level, but the accusation in it is clear as day. It hits a nerve in me somehow more than that tone usually does. I do get where he's coming from, but I say we press the issue, bro. If you do this, then he might just rub us off. It might taint the Ashton relationship a bit, but I think we need to go a little aggro here. That's not the point, idiot. It went down. It went down so much, I think. Or did it? I don't know. It's not the point. Why are you so fussy, bro? Of all the things I said, my connection to the rights is the first thing he points out. As much as I want to keep up my own annoyance at bay, I can't stop it from sleeping into my voice.
It's completely beside the point here, Ash.
Oh shit. I fucked up. Hana, I killed you. I should have just not made Ash annoyed.
I warned you, Zach.
But what?
I get it, alright?
You're cringe, Ash. You're actually cringe right now.
You can't just expect me to turn it down after I made a commitment to a client. I've got to put food on my table.
I didn't say you shouldn't, but you should not be messing with them.
I took her photo and talked.
I wasn't messing with them.
And this isn't?
He waves the photos in front of me before dropping the pound on the table with a loud smack. I don't need to look to know we've already attracted some attention from the lunchtime crowd. Besides, turning away from him feels almost the same as admitting he's right. There are things more important than his damn case right now. I wish you'd see that.
It was a job, and that ain't how these photos were intended to come out. You think I'd go out of my way just to edit something like this? There's something weird going on here.
Stand your ground, Zachary.
And you think Luke Wright will see it that way?
Who cares about Luke Wright?
You think the right missus will find it amusing?
Oh
I
my
did
god.
not do this for my amusement.
No, I love
People's lives might be at stake here.
I love Ashton, and he is like cringy, but like usually in a wholesome way, but this is actually like cringe right now.
If you understood that in the first place, we wouldn't be having this stupid talk.
Should have talked to Hana. Unlucky, I guess.
Luke fucking Wright is a dangerous man, Zach. Keep hanging around them and you'll find yourself burnt to a crisp in your apartment or floating down a river 3 days later. This case is...
Will you stop talking about the damn case for once and just listen to me?
Lock him up, Zach.
Why do you think Isabella's...
Don't you dare bring her into this. We're talking about you and this stupid...
Oh, of course you don't want to talk about it. Because you're fucking afraid there's some damn truth to what she's saying now that there's two of us.
Yo. Never mind, this is the right choice. Every expression drains from his face as soon as the words are out of my mouth. They've hit the mark. Each utterance scathes and sharp with nothing but anger and the truth. Yet there are also things I won't typically say out loud in good company, and rather ease people into it before letting it fall. Almost immediately, a wave of regret washes over me.
Ash, dude, that ain't what I meant to...
You said enough, Zach.
Without another word, he stands, his chair scraping loudly against the floor, all while my brain races to find something to fix this. Ours ain't a fragile friendship by any means. I like to think we've gone past this stage, when we find everything the other says insulting. But there are times when letters and phrases alone can cut deeper than any blade. Mine might even leave a scar. He doesn't let me, however. Instead, he sets the card in front of me. The name is familiar, but amidst the cloud of remorse swirling inside my head, I can't bring myself to recall where I've seen it.
You shouldn't be running blind. Call this guy. He'll be less inclined to shout at you. Might even talk some sense into you.
I don't know if that was right. What if he said that? We just reassured our point. I don't know. It feels like he wouldn't budge either way. But like Zach said, maybe we can ease him into it. Disturbed, Zachary decides to show photographs to Ashton. During lunch at the coffee house, they briefly discuss Zach's sister. Before the topic veered on the photos, refusing to believe his friend, Ashton advised him to talk to Andrew instead. I really want to see the tree, bro, but we can't. I don't want to spoil myself. This is the worst ending. We killed Hana. We killed Ashton. GG. Oh man, dude, we're gonna end it there. That was a tense conversation, but yeah, pretty good episode. A little spoots here and there, and obviously that last conversation was pretty intense. Hopefully we didn't fuck it up too bad, but yeah, just the power of friendship was not strong enough, huh? Even after saying we would hammer on that point. But thank you for watching as always. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you next time with more The Letter Zachary POV. Bye for now.